Good morning. This is Abundance Book Club, and we are talking about what it is like to be in misalignment, how to move out of misalignment. And I am here this morning with Vicki Rude. Good morning, Vicki.
Good morning.
So all of the conversations that, excuse me, I'm getting some kickback on my volume up here. All of the conversations in December are pulled or inspired by the book that we are reading. If you are not reading the book with us yet, I highly recommend it. It is The Audacity to Be Queen by Gina DeVee. And it is absolutely amazing. It is inspirational. It is about stepping into our masculine and feminine power and doing what we are here to do in the world, stepping into our calling, our purpose, and making the difference that we are here to make. So a phenomenal book. And misalignment. Oh goodness. So misalignment, it has been one that I have really wrestled with more last year, a little bit of earlier this year. And I think it's something that we hone and get better and better at. But this feeling of misalignment for me in the beginning felt like a feeling of being caged. Even years ago when it was really bad, I felt like I couldn't breathe. Like there was just something like strapping my chest where I couldn't even like take a deep breath. Over the last couple of years, it felt like just something being off, like something just being off. And so what does misalignment feel like for you, Vicki? How would you
Well,
describe
I just experienced it this week. I think for me, it's kind of the same in terms of now I notice it a lot more. And I think in the past, I thought I was supposed to grind through it, right? I was supposed to just get over it and move on, do what's supposed to be done. And I think when I think first things first, it's in my body. I can feel tight here. I can feel tight here. And the second part of when I'm in misalignment with something that I'm doing or something that's happening around me, right, that I'm included in, it really, because I do an inventory every night of my day, right? So every single night I do an inventory. And because of that, I get to be very clear about cleaning it up the next day, right? And what's interesting is when you write it on paper, right? When you write down what's going on or what didn't feel right or what I did wrong, because usually when it's misalignment for me, and that's the second part, is when I act how I don't want to act. I behave in a way that's reactive, snarky. Possibly sometimes it's when I am withdrawing.
And what I want to presence is that it isn't the action that was misaligned. It was the action that showed you were misaligned with something that was in your space.
Exactly right. Exactly right. It's that reaction. And it's most of the time I don't even realize it, right? When something that just doesn't feel right and I get crabby or I get antsy or I get, this doesn't feel right. I'm uncomfortable. I'm itchy. And it takes some space sometimes. Sometimes I know instantly. People are gossiping. I've really gotten out of the habit of gossiping, right? So I know right away. But when it's something that I'm misaligned with that I'm doing that for, like, let's say for work, if I'm doing something for work that I don't believe in, I get to figure out how to either change that for me, speak my truth, or try something different.
Yeah, I love that you're sharing that it shows up in the body, because it definitely shows up in the body, that clenching of the throat where it's like you want to say something, but your body's like holding back. The feeling of not being able to breathe, the one that I mentioned, those are all indicators. Or if we miss those indicators, an indicator, like you said, is us reacting in a way that is that doesn't feel good. Right? There's something within us that is responding to something that's misaligned. For me, over the last couple of years, it's been saying yes to something that I have been a yes to before, but I'm no longer a yes to, or choosing to participate and be in something that I chose because I loved the people right? I'm aligned with who they are, what they're up to in the world. And so I said yes, because I thought I was aligned because I was aligned with them, their mission, but I truly wasn't aligned in my being part of it, of my giving my time and my energy to that mission, right? Or maybe there's another way I could have given my energy and my time to forwarding it without it being the yes that I gave, the commitment that I gave. So let's really dive into this, because there's times in our lives, I know for me, where I've made a commitment, I'm in an agreement, and then I've realized I'm misaligned. It's really great. Let's just say it's really great when we can notice it right away and we can just choose alignment, right? Communicate,
Yep.
hey, that doesn't work for me, I'm choosing alignment. That's awesome. I love it when I've, made that choice and I've gone that path. Alignment feels amazing. I want to always be there. Let's, do our best to always be there. But life is life, right? So we've taken the path of saying yes to something. We're in a commitment. We're in some sort of agreement that, and we'll pick up also the gossiping space and kind of those funky end of the night spaces too. We'll talk about that, but let's talk about like just those commitment spaces, because I know that some people are like, oh, I made this commitment and now I realize I shouldn't have, it wasn't a good fit for me, and I'm just going to go and I'm going to tell the person I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be part of it. Well, communication is important. Awareness of what, a choice that we made is important. But I also believe our commitments are important, right? Because we have a massive impact wherever we are. We can walk into a room and make an impact just by being the loving, energetic, or whatever person that we choose to be for that space. We make an impact. And so we get to be aware of our impact, and we get to be in our queenhood and our grace and our power with our impact. So when we've made a commitment, how can we communicate in a way and follow through with the commitment, yet still be in communication about honoring ourselves going forward, right? If there's a long-term commitment and we get to shorten the commitment, what does that look like so that we're still leaving the other party with the empowered space that we get to leave them with? Obviously, if we're in a space, I'm just going to throw this one in there and then I'm going to have you jump in, Vicki. But I just want to say, obviously, if you're in a space with someone that is completely out of integrity, go. Like, cut ties, communicate, go. That's not what we're talking about here. There are times where, yes, you just go.
Yeah.
Jump in, Vicki, jump in.
So the communication piece, right? And for me, it took a lot to get the courage to speak it. And so a lot of times, maybe it didn't mean getting out of the commitment. Maybe it meant changing the commitment. So it worked for both people. I think when we're honest, when we're authentic with the space that we're in, because obviously in your example, you believe in these people, you trust these people, you are you have a relationship that you care about, and going into that with honesty and vulnerability and communication and with an open mind. I think for me, anytime I'm able to open my mind, because most of the time when these misalignments happen, for me, I get very constricted and I get very, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to decide what to do. I get very angsty, right? And when I take a deep breath and when I pause and when I really get clear on what I'm not aligned with and what's possible, and then talking to someone, most of the time things can be worked out. And if not, if my commitment is too much, let's say time, energy, space, it's usually giving them plenty of time to replace me. Right. So I think it's all about being vulnerable and honest with those people in your life that you can share. This isn't working for me. This is why, or whatever it is that your truth is.
Yeah. And I will say one of the things that has come up for me during that angst feeling is, well, I'll just buckle down and complete my agreement at this point, and then the next time I'll make a different choice. And I have to say, like, that doesn't work. Because we never create that shift in alignment within ourselves. The next time it comes up, we've not practiced moving through to alignment. We haven't practiced that inner new way of showing up to things that are out of alignment and moving into alignment. And when that shows up again, we get through it, we struggle through it, we're in the, the ick of it. And then finally get to the end of whatever agreement. The next opportunity that we have, it shows up again because we never dealt with it. I've done it too many times. It's so important that we actually just make the choice to create alignment in the moment, is through those conversations, all the things that you just said.
And to run it by somebody that you trust, right? Because sometimes our own, really, we get to identify, for me, I'm a verbal processor. When I'm going through something and I have that going on, finding someone that I trust, they call it safe venting zones. I've heard it called safe venting zones, where you can, Tabitha has been one for me very recently, and where you can just really get clear on what it is that what's happening, so that you can really, and sometimes practice that conversation with them. Right.
Yeah.
But most importantly, to the whole point of this is knowing your inner truth. To thine own self be true. Right. And sometimes it takes getting quiet. Sometimes it takes journaling. There are so many tools out there that you can use to really get clear on what's happening. But when something's happening, if you're showing up, like you said, like just gritting it and showing up, the space knows that it's happening.
Yeah.
And you are not contributing to the highest good of anyone by putting that stuff underneath.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of things that are coming up. One is, I think it's really important, like you said, to talk to somebody that we trust, that we really trust to hold space for us and to support us in seeing forward movement, not someone who we trust to just vent with us.
Yeah,
right.
This is true.
We can actually move through it, right? Not have somebody that's just gonna see it and go
Be like,
along with
yeah,
it.
girl, you don't get to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
You
not
have
what
every
we're
right to be mad. Yeah, that's not gonna help.
Nope.
So yeah, someone that we truly trust, or someone that we say, hey, I just need like you said, a safe vent space, someone that's just going to hold the space while we just get it out and isn't going to add to that frustration.
Right.
Stir the pot with us.
Yeah.
The other thing is, actually, we'll have to come back to me because it's not with me at the moment. It was based on something that you had said there at the end. But I'm sure it'll come back to me. So
right. And what I can tell you about being in a space and not contributing, and it being like this underneath this thing that's really holding everyone, not holding everyone in their best possibility. I think when I realize some of this all comes down to realizing the impact you actually have, realizing what you really have to contribute, and who that is. It's this constant uncovering of who you are and what you stand for, and who you want to be and how you want to show up, and then getting the courage to do it, to take action.
Yeah, thank you. You also supported me in remembering the thought that came up for me. And that was, I realized when I was saying yes to something that I wasn't a true yes for, I didn't show up all the way. Like energetically, I was holding back. I didn't give my best, didn't show up. So not only did I create a space for myself that was misaligned, I created a space where what I was saying yes to, the people who had made the request, they didn't get the full impact of what I was capable of. And I didn't get to be seen in the full impact of what I was capable of. Yeah. So there was, everybody involved in my opinion, got a little bit gypped. Whereas if I had just said, hey, it's not a good fit for me, maybe the results that I created were still better than, the next possibility that they could find, maybe. But at the end of the day, I know that we did not create the highest possible results and what I was capable of and what that partnership was capable of. So it's just a reminder that, as we choose ourselves, as we choose things that we feel like we are maybe, cheating someone out of, when we say yes to us or say no to something, we're actually choosing the highest possibility in those
Yeah.
situations.
For everyone, right? For everyone.
Yeah, so true.
Win-win.
Mhm. Well, and what's so funny about you saying that is the other piece of this topic that I have down from the book today is taking a stand for the and, like having it all in our lives. So often we go, well, if I do this, then I can't do this, or if I have this, then I can't have this. And we are compromising, we're choosing one over the other. Whereas when we really allow ourselves to be in the pause, to get messy with it, to get into the unknowns, and create like be willing to be open to choose it all. A lot of times we can create a win where everybody wins at the highest level. And not only, for others, but maybe sometimes it's with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
That we want to things that seem to be in conflict with each other, or that seem to not work in the same space. Like we talked about earlier this week, just an example, traveling and being a great mom, right? Those are two things that we talked about that can sometimes conflict in our belief system.
Yeah.
So as an example, where does the win-win, where does the alignment get to happen, where all things win, all parts of our lives win?
Yeah. And for me, it really is about allowing myself to be open-minded and being open to possibilities that I might not have thought of it that way. And really, for me personally, it starts with that communication piece. It starts with that being real honest and sharing, being comfortable sharing that with the people that are involved, that I'm showing up with for and to.
Yeah. Yeah. Communication is absolutely the key. Because like you said, even if it's not that conversation that's, solving it might be a conversation with someone that can see something that we can't see, or hear something even that we're saying that we don't even know that we're saying. The example of the mom and the woman that wanted to travel, she was saying she wanted to travel. She was saying that she, believed she couldn't. And it took someone saying, well, this is what I hear that you really want, for her to go, oh, wait, maybe I can do that.
Maybe I can. Yeah, I love the and. In improv, that's a very important piece because something can be true and we can add something to that.
Yeah. Someone who I got to support in mentor at one point gave me this, and I was like,
Oh, I love
I
it.
love it. So it sits on my desk. It might be mirrored for you. Is it that way?
No, the other way was perfect.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, be in the end. What is possible? It's all possible. And it gets messy for sure. But Vicki, you have something super fun coming up in May that I want
Yes.
to create some space for you to share about before we're done today.
Yeah, I have an amazing, speaking of travel, speaking of being true to yourself, speaking of really creating space in your life for your own priority, right? So that when we show up whole for all the people in our life, we're whole. And so I am having Freedom to Thrive. It's a sacred self-care retreat. And it's not just self-care by the sea in Montego Bay, Jamaica. We will be creating and committing to what's possible when we leave there in our real lives. So I'm extremely excited about this massive shift that these women that are coming get to take.
Yes, and we're if that sounds like you and you are ready for healing and connecting and being inspired, then the link will be in the comments for you. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. And anything else on that, Vicki, before we say goodbye?
Just you can call, we can connect and really get clear on if this makes sense for you. I am available, and it is just going to be a beautiful space for women to really dig into their truth.
Yeah, great point. We will also, if you just comment in the comments and have a question, we'll Vicki will connect with you. So if for some reason you're like, hey, I really want to think about this, I really potentially want to do it, I'd really like to talk about it, just comment in the comments and Vicki will connect with you. All right, well,
All right.
let you